Yo, it's poppin', Silverback Nation. Great to be with you here on Saturday, March 30th. You are in the jungle. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the jungle. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell so you don't miss out any time our bets go live. We've got 15 games in Major League Baseball today. That means 30 pitchers are active. And if you're new to the channel, we break down all we bet in Major League Baseball's K-props, strikeout props. I come to this as a sports handicapper. This is what I do full-time for a living, but also as a former pitcher, so I break these cats down very well. I think that's part of the reason for our success with Major League Baseball K-props is I come at it from two angles, as a pitcher and as a sports handicapper, looking at the numbers, looking at the players, the pitchers themselves, putting that together and delivering winners for you and helping make us all some money. So we're going to go through every single game. I'm going to give you what I think is the best bet for each game. If you want I'm not going to make 15 bets. If you want my exact betting card, if you want to roll with what I'm rolling with, go to silverbackjungle.com, click Become a Jungle member, and get my exact betting card pinned to your phone every single day. Good start to the Major League Baseball season. We were 3-1 yesterday. Only loss was on the hook, Spencer Strider. We had 8.5 strikeouts. He ended on the hook with 8. We won with Aaron Savali over 4.5. We won with Kyle Harrison, the young kid, over 4.5, and we won big with Freddie Peralta on plus money demon bet over 6.5. For the season now, we're off to a 5-2 start. We're up 2.3 units. Let's work. I got a couple young pitchers for you to be excited about today, starting with this game. Milwaukee Brewers at New York Mets. We have DL, Dayton Lane Hall. That's my last name, too. It's not why I like him. He's a good pitcher. So we got DL Hall versus Luis Glassjaw Louis Severino of the Mets. DL Hall's line's at 4.5. Severino's at 5.5. I'm going with DL Hall here. He's one of the top. He was one of the top prospects in Major League Baseball all the way from high school on. He's a young kid. He's still in his early 20s. He made his Major League debut last year with Baltimore. Struck out 6 in his debut. Struggled with control. Got moved to the bullpen later on in the season. Was good with them in the playoffs, but he was part of that Corbin trade. Went over to Milwaukee, becoming a starter again. Now he's got really interesting. Again, he's got some control problems, but he's got great strikeout potential, upside. 10.9 Ks per 9 innings last year. Give me DL Hall for minus 102 on DraftKings. Great value over 4.5 strikeouts. Get that one in. First pitch is 140. Now we go to the Detroit Tigers and the Chicago White Sox. Interesting matchup. We got Kenta Miata, who was very up and down last year, and Mike Soroka, who is an ordinarily great strikeout pitcher, really struggled toward the end of last season. Miata's at 5.5, and Soroka's at 4.5. My lean here would actually be Kenta Miata under 5.5, and here's the reason why. Now, he was only under 40% of the time last season, but there are things that you look at in sports handicapping, okay? And one thing is called EV, or expected value. There are many different sports books out there, as you know. I use mainly DraftKings and FanDuel and line shop between the two of them because I like what their companies are about. Caesars and BetMGM, not my favorites for a couple reasons. I like the way that FanDuel, DraftKings interact with their customers. I like the quick payouts that they offer. And their variance lines are better than the other two. We'll talk about that at a later time. I got some videos coming out on how to sports handicap and how to make the best bets. But Pinnacle is considered the sharpest sports book in all the world. It's not offered in every U.S. state, but Pinnacle has this line at minus 168. His under 5.5, and you can get it for minus 125, minus 130 on FanDuel and DraftKings. I like this today. He struggled a little bit getting to the 4th and 5th innings. Chicago's not a terrible hitting team. They can take it deep into the count, so I do like Kenta Miata today to go under 5.5 strikeouts. Now we go to Atlanta versus Philadelphia. NL East matchup started off hot yesterday. You can feel the intensity in the air. I like it. Those guys will be battling all season long. We got Max Fried versus Aaron Nola. Great pitching matchup. They're both at 5.5. Their lines are both at 5.5. I'm going to go with Max Fried here of the Braves. He's a really good road pitcher, and this game's in Philadelphia. And we're getting pretty good value here. So the over 5.5 for Fried is minus 120 currently on FanDuel. Road games over in 6 of his last 7 last year, averaged 7.2 Ks on the road in his last 7 starts last season. Give me Max Fried of Philly over 5.5 Ks. We're going to the LA Angels and the Baltimore Orioles. We got Griffin Canning 5.5 line for the Angels, and Grayson Rodriguez, the young stud from last year, 5.5 line also. Now this is interesting because Grayson Rodriguez could very well have 7-8 strikeouts. He never goes like super high, like 9, 10, but he was over 60% of the season last year. I think this is a pretty tough matchup for him. I think the Angels will hit him pretty well, and we're actually getting plus money on the under. It's if you're leaning over under, I have to take the value play. The under is plus 125 on DraftKings. That's my pick in this game. Grayson Rodriguez of Baltimore, under 5.5 for plus money, plus 125. Cleveland Indians and the Oakland Athletics. We got Tanner Bieber at 6.5 line and J.P. Sears of the A's at a 4.5 line. My pick here is going to be Tanner Bieber, under 6.5. He was under this. He's a great pitcher, not a huge strikeout pitcher. He was under this in 70% of the season last year, averaged 5.8 strikeouts per start, and K'd 25% of his batters, which isn't enough for me to want to take him at 7 Ks, even against Oakland. Tanner Bieber, under 6.5 Ks. Pitt's very interesting game here. Another young prospect I want you to pay attention to in this game. I guarantee will be the only guys on this kid today. It's Pittsburgh at Miami. Jared Jones, the rookie starter for Pittsburgh, 4.5 against Ryan Weathers of the Marlins, who also has a 4.5 line. We can get Jared Jones, the Pittsburgh Pirates, for plus money over 4.5 over on DraftKings. I would take him even up to minus 120. Now, Jared Jones is very interesting. He throws triple-digit fastballs. And when you're looking at strikeouts, it's not so much. A lot of people tend to look at the wrong stats and analyze the wrong things when it comes to young pitchers and strikeout props, or any props for that matter. What you want to look at is, can these young pitchers miss bats, get whiffs with their fastball? If they can do that, they can set up everything else. And this young man does that, man. Jared Jones of the Pirates throws triple digits. They're very excited about him. He wasn't even going to be on the opening day roster. He wasn't even going to be a 5-starter. But spring training, he dazzled people. He's got, like I said, a triple-digit fastball. He misses bats high in the zone. He's got great potential. You can't put a kid like this, his first start ever, at 5.5, 6.5 line. I think his line should be 5.5. I'm very happy to take him, and you should too. Jared Jones of the Pirates, over 4.5 strikeouts for plus money over on DraftKings, or wherever you can get the best deal on him today. Washington at Cincinnati. Patrick Corbin, 3.5 line versus Hunter Green of the Cincinnati Reds at 3.5 for Corbin, 6.5 for Hunter Green. Hunter Green is a fantastic strikeout pitcher. 33%, 1 in every 3 batters he struck out last season, which is one of the tops in the league. He was over the high line of 6.5 and 50% of the games last season. Battle health problems. He's good. He's ready to go. I like Hunter Green today. Washington struck out least than anyone in Major League Baseball last year. I understand that. But I like Hunter Green today over 6.5 strikeouts. I think I'll get him for at least 7. We move on to Minnesota and the Kansas City Royals. We have handsome Joe Ryan. He's a dreamboat against Seth Lugo. Ryan's over 5.5, and Seth Lugo's over 4.5. I'll tell you right now, Seth Lugo sucks. You can take his under every single game. You'd make money, but I actually like Joe Ryan over in this game also. He's my best play in this game, over 5.5 strikeouts over this in 70% of games last season. Has great control, misses bats with his fastball, has great off-speed stuff, can go deep into innings, played Kansas City twice last season, hit him for 6 and 9. Joe Ryan, over 5.5. Toronto at Tampa Bay. Interesting matchup here. We have Yossi Kikuchi, the Kuchinator, Kucharama, over 5.5 or over under 5.5. The over is plus money here. And we have Zach Little of the Tampa Bay Rays at 3.5. I'm taking Kikuchi here, Yossi Kikuchi. I'm taking him over 5.5 for plus money, plus 124 right now in FanDuel. Over this in 8 of his last 10, K, 30% of batters last year, especially this early on, Silverback Nation, in the season, for plus money with a lot of unknowns. I'll take 80% of his games last year, his last 10, being over this, hoping he has his stuff. He has his stuff today. It's a plus money bet. Kikuchi, over 5.5 strikeouts. Chicago Cubs at Texas Rangers. Kyle Hendricks, line of 3.5. Corey Bradford line for Texas of 3.5 also. I'm going to take Hendricks here for plus money also. He's not a big strikeout pitcher, but was over this in 7 of his last 10 games last season. Averaged 4.2 strikeouts a game in his last 10. Texas lineup is very good, of course, but Hendricks is a veteran. Hendricks can stay out there. He's going to give us 5 innings. He's going to give us 85 pitches. I'll take the plus money bet for him to get at least 4 strikeouts, average 4.2 over his last 10. San Francisco and San Diego. We had Hicks versus Dylan Cease. Hicks is at 4.5. Cease is at 6.5. Cease making his move over from the AL to the NL, going from the White Sox to the San Diego Padres. Cease over this line of 6.5 in 6 of his last 7 games last year. Struck out 11 batters per 9 innings last season. I like Dylan Cease here, regardless of what league he's in, over 6.5 strikeouts. New York Yankees against the Houston Astros. We have Marcus Stroman coming over from the Cubs against Hunter Brown. Hey, that's Kevin's kid. Stroman's at 3.5, and Hunter Brown. Stroman's the most hated player in Major League Baseball, by the way, of the players and fans. And Hunter Brown is at 5.5. I did a lot of Hunter Brown betting last year. Ended up about in the middle. I don't love this matchup for him today. I would lean toward, believe it or not, I would lean toward his under 5.5 strikeouts. I think the Yankees will knock him around pretty good. He can go for 10 strikeouts, but I don't think he makes it out of the 4th inning today. Hunter Brown, under 5.5 strikeouts. 2 more games to go. St. Louis Cardinals at the LA Dodgers. Very interesting. Lance Lynn, the big guy of the Cardinals, line of 4.5. Then we have Yoshi Yamamoto of the Dodgers. Yamamoto over under 5.5. They're really getting you here on Yoshi, because we know he got knocked around his first, in South Korea when they opened up there. He got knocked around. He's not used to major league hitters. So what they did is they set his line of 5.5 today on all the books, give you massive plus money value at 5.5, kind of tempting you. I don't like him over 5.5, but under, they juiced it so freaking high. The juice is like minus 160 on the under. I don't want to do that either. Honestly, guys, I'd stay away from this game. If I had to make a bet, I would take Lance Lynn on the under 4.5 strikeouts, because I think the Dodgers can knock him around. He struggled toward the end of last season. Boston at Seattle. We have Cutter Crawford at 5.5. Very good pitching matchup versus Logan Gilbert of the Mariners over under 6.5. I'm going to go. I don't mind either one of these guys on the over today. My betting one in this game will be Cutter Crawford over 5.5. You could flip a coin who's going to have a better day of the two, and I'd rather take the under there. And we have pretty good. It's minus 125 right now on Cutter Crawford. Cade at least 7 in his last 4 games to end the season. And as he got healthier as the year went on, Cutter Crawford lasted 5, 6, 7 innings in almost every single game. I like him today against an average Mariners lineup over 5.5 strikeouts. Have a great day, Silverback Nation. Become a Jungle member at silverbackjungle.com. Get my plays pinged to your phone, my exact betting card every single day. We'll make money together all MLB season, I promise you that. Get access to our Discord and everything else that we do throughout the day at silverbackjungle.com. And I'll see you tomorrow with a little more money in your pocket.